2 men were arrested, but prosecutors are looking to upgrade the charges now to include drug trafficking just because of the sheer amount of drugs that were found.
This is a company truck, and they're having you drive around the country to find parts.
No, I mean, that's just this time, you know, I mean, it was going fine.
It began as a routine mechanical check on I-10, a broken taillight, a nervous driver, and a standard bill of lading for industrial refrigeration units. But when the Texas state trooper stepped into the back of that trailer, he didn't find cooling fans. He found the central nervous system of a $2.8 billion logistics empire. Within 48 hours, that single stop catalyzed Operation Iron Highway. We aren't talking about a few kilograms of illicit material. We are talking about a coordinated federal strike across 47 truck stops in 18 states. By the time the sun rose on the third day, 9,400 individuals, from long-haul drivers to high-level corporate liaisons, were in federal custody.
This was not a lone smuggler or a failed delivery. Investigators traced the operation to 47 truck stops across 18 states, all quietly functioning as transfer points along major interstate highways. These locations looked normal, operated legally, and blended seamlessly into daily American life, yet they formed one of the most sophisticated drug pipelines ever identified on U.S. soil.
Before we break down how one truck stop could hide a system this massive, let's be very clear about one thing. The mainstream media is focusing on the arrest numbers, but they're ignoring the logistics. If you're the type of person who wants to see the actual mechanics of how these systems operate, you're in the right place. We are building a community of 1% thinkers who value deep dive analysis over sound bites. Do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button right now. Don't just watch the news, understand the strategy behind it. Subscribe, and let's get into the receipts. The sheer scale of 9,400 arrests is staggering, but the real shock isn't the quantity of people. It's the fact that this system was using the American Interstate Highway as its private, tax-funded conveyor belt for a decade. In the world of logistics, power is invisible, until the moment it isn't. For years, these truck stops were seen as the backbone of the American supply chain, places for weary drivers to get coffee and diesel. They were the ultimate plain sight camouflage. The power flipped the second the FBI recovered the master manifest from that first truck in Texas.
After that shocking early morning seizure at a truck stop in Texas, federal agents quickly turned their attention to the man inside the cab. His name was Robert Chen, an otherwise unremarkable American long-haul driver with no significant criminal record.
Suddenly, the untraceable became documented. Every truck stop manager who thought they were a small cog in an untouchable machine realized they were actually a line item in a federal indictment. The reversal was total. The cartel went from owning the road to being trapped by it. The very infrastructure they used to move $2.8 billion became the cage that caught 9,400 of their operatives. Now the temptation is to call this a lapse in border security. But when you look at the pattern, it becomes clear this wasn't an accident. It was an architecture. Let's look at the data. Over the last 3 years, the incident rate at these specific 47 stops was statistically near zero. No thefts, no minor infractions, no local police presence. In the world of high-stakes logistics, a perfect record is the biggest red flag there is. It means the local variables were being managed. Notice how the system uses perfection to hide corruption. That's a pattern we see in every investigation we do. If you appreciate this level of pattern recognition, hit that like button. It helps the algorithm find more people like you. And if you haven't yet, hit subscribe. You don't want to be the last one to find out how these systems actually work.
A sprawling system of highways and truck stops moves the nation's economy. In fact, over 70% of all freight in the United States is transported by truck, a figure so large it makes this mode of transport one of the busiest logistical arteries in the world.
This wasn't a bug in the highway system, it was a feature. The cartel didn't just use the truck stops, they integrated into them, becoming indistinguishable from the legitimate economy. Let's go to the receipts. According to the unsealed federal affidavit, the $2.8 billion wasn't just cash in duffel bags. It was moved through a series of shell logistics consulting firms that were literally renting office space inside the truck stops themselves. Here's the contradiction. In 2025, the parent company of these stops issued a press release about about their new Safe Transit AI technology designed to eliminate illicit trafficking. However, federal wiretaps recorded the company's regional VP instructing managers on how to reset the sensors when the cartel's specialized trailers arrived. Their own safety tech was the very tool used to bypass inspection. When your solution is actually the delivery method, you aren't a business, you're an accessory. Why did it take 9,400 arrests to finally stop this? It's called the efficiency trap. Our economy demands that trucks move fast. We want our packages in 2 days, our shelves stocked by morning, and our fuel cheap. Because we prioritize speed over scrutiny, we created the perfect environment for a $2.8 billion ghost system. The cartel knew that if they kept the legitimate trucks moving, no one would bother to look at the ghost trucks. They exploited our need for convenience to build a fortress of invisibility. They count on you being too busy with your daily life to ask why 47 truck stops across 18 states are suddenly closed. But you're here and you're asking. That makes you dangerous to the status quo. Support independent analysis by hitting that subscribe button and sharing this video. We provide the context the 24-hour news cycle ignores. Subscribe now to keep the light on. The incentive for the truck stops was simple: ego and profit. They were no longer just fuel stations, they were international logistics hubs. They fell into the trap of believing they were too big and too efficient to fail. Zoom out for a moment. This isn't just about a drug bust. This is a case study in systemic infiltration. When a cartel can manage 9,400 people across 18 states without a single whistleblower for 5 years, it means they've effectively created a parallel government. The $2.8 billion figure is massive, but the real cost is the erosion of our infrastructure's integrity. If our highways can be bought by the mile and our truck stops rented by the state, then the line between the licit and illicit economy has completely dissolved. Operation Iron Highway isn't the end of the story. It's the revelation of how much of our world is actually managed by interests we never voted for. This is exactly why we do these deep dives. The what is the 9,400 arrests. The why is the systemic collapse. If you want to be part of the most informed community on YouTube, you have to be subscribed. Hit that button, join the conversation, and let's hold the powerful accountable together. We began with a single truck in Texas and ended with nearly 10,000 arrests. But the most chilling part of Operation Iron Highway isn't the people who were caught. It's the silence that remains at the stops that weren't raided. The governor of Texas called this a total victory, but in a $2.8 billion system, 9,400 arrests are often just considered the cost of doing business. The infrastructure is still there, the highways are still open, and somewhere right now, another truck is pulling over for a routine taillight check. I want to hear from you. At what point does a business partner become a cartel operative? Is it when they take the first check, or when they look the other way for the first time? Leave your answer in the comments. If you value accountability and you want to see the receipts that the mainstream media is too afraid to show, then you belong with us. Give this video a like to help us bypass the algorithm's filters. Share it with someone who cares about the truth, and if you haven't joined the inner circle yet, hit that subscribe button. It's the only way to make sure you're ready for the next investigation. I'm your narrative strategist, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay sharp.